The presiding judge begins with precision, reading out the charges: violations of probation conditions, failed reporting, positive drug tests, and a refusal to attend mandatory rehabilitation. The defendant, on or about the 11th day of April, did then and there illegally use a controlled substance, namely methamphetamine, and when asked to respond, her voice trembles slightly. That's true. It is a confession, brief, restrained, and devastating. Months earlier, the defendant had been given an opportunity. In 2024, she stood before the same court, charged with theft under $2,500, a non-violent offense, but one aggravated by prior conduct. Instead of imprisonment, the court offered a path of mercy: 3 years of deferred adjudication, a chance to prove rehabilitation, and avoid a felony conviction. Deferred adjudication is not freedom. It is a contract, one between the individual and the justice system. Comply, and past may be erased. Fail, and the deferred judgment returns heavier than before. For a while, she managed to follow the conditions: parenting classes, domestic violence programs, psychological evaluations. She complied sporadically, but never consistently. Behind every missed report, however, there was another story, one she now attempts to explain before the court. I was physically sick. I didn't know what was wrong with me. I've been in and out of urgent care and emergency rooms. I had my gallbladder removed, and my pancreas still doesn't work right. I wasn't doing well, but I was still trying. Her voice carries a blend of apology and fatigue. She describes hospital visits, a long-term addiction to methadone, and ongoing struggles with withdrawal and pain. The court listens silently. The law requires evidence, not emotion. But in the space between her words, there's a deeper human truth. A person broken not just by crime, but by life itself. She pleads for one more opportunity to finish her probation. She insists she is working, sober, and rebuilding her life. And for a moment, there is silence, the kind that holds both skepticism and sympathy. The prosecutor stands, calm, prepared. Their tone is professional, detached, guided by facts. They remind the court that this is not the first violation, nor the second. Multiple months went by without contact. Probation officers tried repeatedly to reach her. Calls, visits, appointments, all unanswered. Even after direct face-to-face meetings, she failed to report. Drug tests came back positive, 3 times for amphetamines. Her attendance at rehabilitation programs was incomplete. The evidence paints a pattern, one not of bad luck, but of repeated disregard. Still, the defense stands firm. Her attorney requests leniency, an extension of probation, another chance, a pathway toward recovery instead of incarceration. Your Honor, she's been physically unwell, but she's making progress. She's completed her parenting and domestic violence courses. All she's asking for is the chance to finish what she started. But justice is not built on sentiment. It rests on accountability. The judge begins a quiet cross-examination, firm but not cruel. When did you realize you needed gallbladder surgery? Why didn't you report after January? Why were you still testing positive for methamphetamines? Each question cuts through her defense, replacing excuses with reality. The defendant explains her medical issues, her children in CPS custody, her ongoing eviction appeal. Her answers are raw and uncertain. They show a woman torn between survival and self-destruction. When asked about her parenting certificate, she hesitates. She claims to have completed it, but has yet to submit proof. The judge nods, not in agreement, but in finality. The moment of decision has arrived. Years of deferred punishment are about to collapse into a single sentence. I just don't think you're a good candidate for probation. You've been given multiple opportunities, and you haven't taken advantage of them. People can only help you if you reach out for that help. The ruling is clear. Probation revoked. 18 months in state jail. The court finds the violations true and the motion granted. No further discussion. No appeals for mercy. Just a final statement of law. The defendant nods, tired, defeated. She thanks the court quietly, her voice trembling as she realizes what has just happened. In legal terms, the court's decision follows strict procedure. Under Texas law, any violation of deferred adjudication conditions allows the court to revoke probation and impose the original sentence. Her plea of true to the violations acted as an admission, binding and final. The state's evidence, failed reporting, drug use, and program refusals met the threshold for revocation. The judge, in granting the motion, also considered the welfare of her children, community safety, and the defendant's rehabilitation record. All weighed against leniency. 18 months may seem harsh, but in the calculus of justice, it represents both consequence and closure. Beyond the technicalities, this hearing reveals something deeper. The justice system walks a narrow line, balancing compassion with accountability. Probation is mercy extended, but mercy has limits. When opportunities are repeatedly broken, the law must reassert itself. For the defendant, it was not just about addiction or illness. It was about trust. A trust given by the court, and ultimately, a trust lost. As the defendant is escorted out, the courtroom returns to silence. Files are closed. A next case is called, but the weight of the moment lingers. Somewhere in San Antonio, her children remain in CPS custody. Her home, uncertain. Her future, momentarily paused within concrete walls. Yet even in that space, there remains a chance. Incarceration is punishment, but it can also be a reset, a moment to reflect, recover, and rebuild. Justice is not only about guilt or innocence. It's about learning where mercy ends and responsibility begins. Every courtroom tells two stories. One written in legal documents, and one written in human struggle. This case reminds us that the law is not a stranger to pain. It merely refuses to excuse it. For every defendant who stands before the bench, there is always one question that defines their fate. Have they truly changed, or merely delayed the truth? Today, the answer was clear. This is not just a case about a probation violation. It's about the fragile balance between second chances and final judgments. And in the courtroom of justice, time always runs out for those who stop trying.